Hey, what's up? I'm Monty, and this is recording number like 57 of this. So, some folks in the Kolin Discord asked me to run through the patch notes with Kolin, go through everything, and kind of say, like, here's what's changed, here's what it means, here's how I feel about it, right? So, I'm going to do some general stuff. So, the first one of the patch notes is the double jump change. I'm going to cover this last. This has to deal with the way that people punish double jump, and I want to show you what those punishes look like, right? So, back heavy kick will be the first thing I touch on. It got two nerfs. Number one, it got more of a hurt box during recovery. So that means that this move is easier to whiff punish now, right? I think it sucks, but like, this move goes so far, you probably shouldn't be whiffing. If you get whiff punished for this move, you should consider your ranges and the opponent's ranges and why you felt like you had to whiff that move, right? Other side of it is that, and you could see it a second ago there, is that the toe of her boot will no longer hit a crouching opponent. A little bit closer, you can see there's like the difference in pixels right there, right? You can see that right here it whiffs. An inch closer, it's blocked, right? So the one big note I think of that is it used to be after V-Skill 2. V-Skill 2, I'll drop this off so you can see the frame info. You're 0, right? You're completely neutral after a V-Skill 2, right? But back heavy kick used to reach. So you could still kind of poke at the opponent. And with V-Trigger 1, you could activate V-Trigger 1 and take pressure back afterwards. But this used to be would only reach if they crouched after V-Skill 2. Because when you crouch, your hurt box is just a little bit further, right? Now, this will never reach after V-Skill 2. So it's not even worth trying, right? I think this is a little bit of a nerf. I'm already imagining seeing this whiff and then getting like swept for it during it, right? In the way that like a lot of characters stand heavy kicks might work. But I don't think that this is really something, if this was all that Kolin would have gotten, people would have been like, she was untouched, right? Like, I don't think this is massive. So, EX hands got what I consider two changes, and they're really, really strange ones, right? So, the first one is that they changed the frame advantage from -10 to -7 when the launcher of EX hands was guarded. And so, when EX hands is blocked, you'll see it's -7, right? That's if he blocks it, she just does the stabs, she doesn't follow, right? If EX hands hits, and you hit it at a really unnatural far range, so think of if Ryu threw his crouch medium kick and I caught it with stand light kick, right? He will fall out of it, and you can see it happened right there, and he will guard those hits, right? This was really annoying when it happened, because sure, whatever, my EX hands got blocked, but for some reason it was -10 before. The launcher was more unsafe than the rest of the attack if it didn't go into the launcher. So it was kind of one of those ones where it was just like, you'd whip punish something from really far, and you would hit with the EX hands, but they'd fall out of it and you'd get screwed. They didn't stop opponents from falling out of it, instead they just standardized the disadvantage. It's quality of life, it's not really, it's like technically a buff, but it doesn't really matter. But I feel good about it because it was an annoying state that didn't have any reason to be in the game before, right? The other change they did, and this is a hard one to decipher, it says, lowered combo count gain for all attacks before the final one, right? Increased combo count gain for the final attack. What that means is it's like almost a new language that's like juggle potential, right? Or the way that juggle potential is distributed, kind of. So here's an example of a combo that we couldn't do before this change happened. If you do Brinkle, right, that slide, crouch, light kick, heavy punch target combo, you can combo it into EX light step, silver edge, and then EX hands. That juggle state used to be really, really bad. Anytime you juggled somebody with EX hands, it was really rough and you didn't get much off of it. So before, you had to do something like this. You would do this, and then you'd have to spend that other bar there, right, to continue juggling. Now, if you wanted to juggle with that silver edge, you had to make it EX. Now, we can juggle with a regular silver edge, right? See that? So that's cool. I think this is a change that still really needs to develop. I think it'll take time to see what this actually means for the character, right? And like what we should actually think about with Kolin. But at the very least, it's cool, right? Like at the very least, I think there's some potential for us to develop this to do cool things. And I think this is made to work in tandem with the changes to moves like double jump, right? So, could be a cool buff. Probably not that massive of a thing, but we'll see, right? Continuing down, V-Skill 2 gives you a little bit more V gauge. So if I set my V gauge to normal, it should take 3 of these. Check it out. 3 V-skill 2s will give you that full bar, right? And that works if they come out of target combo as well. That's comparatively to something like 5 or 6 V-skill 1s, right? So this is a buff, but if you play V-skill 2 Kolin, it's really only marginal. Like, you'll notice yourself getting V-trigger a little bit faster. This isn't really a V-skill that you hit a ton of. Like, you will maybe get one of these around, and not always. Like, you'll have plenty of rounds where you won't get this. So I don't think this is a big buff. It's very, very slight. Now here's the nerfs, right? Here's the nerfs that everybody's talking about. Is V-trigger 2 got what are essentially 2 big things. So I'm going to start with the timer bits. So the timer bit on absolute 0 and the timer bit on forward dash. Absolute 0 is the V-trigger overall, right? Forward dash is the slide. So I'll hide this in a second here. But you'll see we lost 300 frames of timer on V-trigger. So that means not only does it run down quicker, but things like Frost Edge or Double Javelin now essentially cost more. Because they cost the same, but relative to your actual bar length, it is more because the total bar is shorter. So that means that, like, going through fireballs with Frost Edge is a little more expensive than it used to be, right? It used to be still like a third. Now it's a little bit more than that. So this is pricey. This is pricey, and I think that can hurt versus characters like Guile, who, luckily for us, got nerfed pretty hard. Ryu and Sagat, on the other hand, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Other than that, this is the big change you probably saw Twitter talking about, is that normal and special punches now decrease the V-timer on hit or block. So if I put him to guard all, look at my V-timer right now, right? I'll wait for restart battle. You notice how every time he blocks a move, it goes down a chunk? If he blocks Stand Fierce, it goes down a chunk. Same thing happens if I hit him, right? So if I hit him with, like, crouch jab target combo, like, that took up a non-negligible portion of my VT, right? This kind of hurts us in combos. Like, this is one of the bigger nerfs, because this combined with the timer nerf means that if you do, like, your Stand Fierce crush counter combo, right? I'll do it from absolute full V-trigger so you can see the spam. I have V-trigger 2, or V-skill 2. That's sad. I'm not going to restart the video. I've done it too many times. Punished Monty. Changes to inside slash. So if I do V-trigger 2, Stand Fierce. Boom. That's like 90% of my V-trigger. That's a lot. I mean, he blocks one jab and that's essentially gone afterwards, right? I think that this nerf means that you're going to find your conversions a lot more limited in V-trigger 2. Sequences will be shortened quite a bit off the fact that you're going to be running out your V-trigger a lot, right? That can't happen anymore right there. If I do it, I mean, that was kind of a ridiculous setup to go through that huge reset. But, like, you'll find yourself running out a lot quicker, especially if you're spending it on just about anything, right? However, the upside, in quotes, is if I'm Kolin and I activate and you get hit by a crush counter Stand Fierce early, I'll just spend it all. And now I'm building V-trigger right back up, right? So I think that it is actually realistic for Kolin to occasionally get 2 V-triggers now, or at the very least, have V-trigger out, use it, or use it and be able to use these universal mechanics like V-shift still, right? And then, if you don't have it until later, I mean, you'll still get in those positions where one crush counter Stand Fierce wins the game for you, right? It's still going to happen. Overall, I think Kolin got nerfed, but I don't think that it's like doomsday like a lot of people are pretending. I think she went from a possibly top 5, easily top 10 character to probably still a top third of the cast. I think she's still competitive. If you're worried about, like, oh, I can't play this game anymore, I need to switch off Kolin, I don't think you should be. I think at the highest level she got weaker, but I think mostly she's still going to be strong, and depending on what you focus on with Kolin, I think you'll still find a lot of success, right? So, other things that I want to show. Let's go really quickly into that double jump piece, and then I'll do like a secret special bonus for the Discord, and I'll show off the V-shift punishes. I know we've talked about them before. So I'm going to pick Vega here so that I can show you what punishing double jump looks like, right? The double jump change was moves like Icicle Stamp, which is that you jump in the air and hit down medium kick, neutral jump, or forward kick. That, things like Vega's jump off the walls, right? Like that, you can't see it because I have it covered. But moves that like change the trajectory or jump in this way gain this really weird state where they're counter hittable. So once Kolin does Icicle, she's counter hit until she touches the ground. Even if she doesn't hit a button, she's counter hit. But also, if you hit them with a medium or a heavy normal, they'll be knocked down, unable to perform an air recovery. Here's what that means and here's what that looks like. So very quickly, for anybody unfamiliar with Vega, if I set Kolin to jump, this is claw, crouch, heavy punch. You'll notice that on counter hit, that doesn't give me like a juggle or anything, right? On counter hit, it just air resets her, right? Kolin falls down to the ground and can block again, right? She can act immediately. Nothing special, right? If I instead tell Kolin to do, should be on, to do double jump, do you see how she falls down and gets knocked down? This is interesting because that's a juggle state, right? Which means that any moves that work like this, you can continue comboing after if you catch them, right? It's not fast enough right there, but like, you can see the sweep, right? You can follow up, which is really, really interesting. It means that double jump gets a lot weaker as a get out of the corner free option, but really only against players who know how to optimize these punishes and know to do these things, right? I think for the vast, vast majority of people, and I say this because like, even like most players Diamond Plus, I never see punish that move well, or they just get hit by the little ice poop anyway. It doesn't really change much for Kolin. But when somebody actively gets away from the hail or is trying to bait it, you can eat a pretty hefty combo on that. And I've seen some stuff on Twitter already that looks like it really holds, right? So I think it's a nerf to Kolin, but it's one of those ones that I'm kind of okay with because, like, I will take double jump being more punishable like that in exchange for, like, I don't know, Rashid's wall jump being notably weaker because now if we catch him, we can combo off it. Things like Dawson's V-Skill 1, the float, if you crouch heavy punch him with Kolin, you'll get a counter hit, it'll juggle it, and you can go into EX Silver Edge. And oh, that EX Silver Edge juggled. So that means you can do that EX Hands combo that I was just talking about before, right?